Hello and welcome to 7 Minutes of Inspiration with Seven. You're watching me, Latasha Guy. You're either catching me on my Facebook, YouTube, or you're catching snippets on my Instagram. It is a pleasure to be able to join you on today. The past couple of weeks, I have not been able to log on. Some amazing things that have been taking place in my life that did not allow me to place my focus on recording at that time. And so, unfortunately, I had to shift gears, and we've talked about that before, the ability to shift gears and be where you need to be and be present in that moment as you're journeying on to finding your purpose in life. And so, even in the midst of journeying on my corporate America journey, I was just enlightened by some of the things that just began to speak to my spirit and begin to make me really take a direct focus in looking at. And I just wanted to share it with you on today and hope that you would be encouraged as you wrap up your work week. To keep pressing, to keep going. And so on this week, I was immediately given delay after delay. And so when I was given that, one of the things that kind of zoned in and hit key with me was looking for the signs. And so I was immediately reminded this hotel that I stayed at, every time I would come off the elevator, I would go the wrong way. And it was just like, I don't know why I couldn't see it. There was literally a sign right there that directed you where you needed to go. And it was just like it immediately hit me. Sometimes we just need to look for the signs. Maybe we need to look up. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm looking at my notes because I did journal about this. Sometimes we need to look up. Sometimes we need to look down. We need to look around. But we need to look for the signs. Not only do we need to look for the signs, we need to look for the signs of the season. It'll let you know exactly what you need to do next. The signs, not only when you see the signs, you have to remember that you got to put your faith foot forward. And by putting your faith foot forward, I mean, you'll begin to experience some of those things that you once just dreamed about doing or you once just dreamed about accomplishing. And so it's going to take a lot of dedication, but I mean, seriously, we have to really start to look for the signs. And that was just one of the things he immediately showed me upon landing feet in another city, in another territory. I was extremely just kind of anxious when I went on this trip. And one, because it was one of those times everybody was just, close with their loved ones. No one wanted to be too far. And I was going halfway across the country. And so I just asked that God would cover me. It was really one of those trips a lot of people did not know I was gone. I didn't post about it. I didn't talk about it. I went on the mission and I came home, and it was a great mission. It was a great mission where again, a lot of things were being downloaded and poured into me. And so I promise you I'm going to keep it to 7 minutes. And so the next thing that he showed me, great week, had an amazing week on my way back. And as I was headed to the airport, I received a text message that said my flight had been canceled. And so, I mean, anybody knows me, when I travel, there is always some issues with me in the airport. Like, it's just always something happens. And so the more and more that I've experienced in sometimes traveling, I have just learned to really practice and try to exude patience and being calm and just realizing that, but this time it was different. It was canceled. I had been gone for a week. I really was ready to get home. And so I immediately went to the ticket counter. The young lady I was traveling with, she was able to get rebooked. I was able to get rebooked. We went and had breakfast. And then, we just kept getting the delays. And we were getting delays because of the weather that was being experienced on the East Coast that was affecting travel that was coming in through the South and the West. And so, I mean, when I say this airport, I didn't see a plane in sight. And I was just like, oh my God. At this point, I'm getting scared. I'm calling my husband. I called him a couple times. And we dialogued about this later. But I called him and I'm like, babe, I don't know what's going on. It may be a minute. My flight was just canceled. I got rerouted, but this plane won't leave until 12. And about every 15 minutes, they were delaying it even more. And so eventually, I did leave. I got to Destination 2. When I got to Destination 2, it was rocking. I mean, this airport was full. There were people that had been stuck there from the day before. They were agitated, irritated. You heard a lot of people on their cell phones screaming, hollering. You had a lot of people that had masks. They were trying to protect themselves. It was just a lot going on. And as I began to look around, and I just kept thinking delay after delay, and all of this just began to make sense to me. I looked around and I said, you're not the only one that's going through this. And so in life, and that was in a moment to look around that I was being delayed 15, 20 minutes from a plane arriving from its original time. But there were people that had been there since the day before. Their flight had got canceled and they had not been rerouted. And I just in a spiritual sense, I looked at, you're not the only one that's going through it. You sit here, you're patient. I began to read my book, which my book, very inspiring. I got this. I picked this gem up from Target, and it's called 13 Things That Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. It's a really good book, but I had focused while I was sitting in the airport on chapters 4 and 5, what mentally strong people don't do. And one was they don't focus on things they can't control. And 5, they don't worry about pleasing everyone. So in that moment, they don't focus on what they can't control. It was literally a moment. I couldn't control what was going on. I couldn't control when the plane was going to leave. All I knew was that in that moment, I needed to be patient. Even going through my week, I was reminded by a young lady that I had met that stated, we should be present in the moment. Some of us were not present in the moment because we're looking so far ahead, we can't enjoy where we're at right now. And so I'm learning to discipline myself to be present in the moment, to know that delay is not denial. Some delays are good. They're working out for your good. And to always make sure that you're looking for the signs. Make sure you're looking for the signs of the seasons. Make sure you're looking for the signs of what's next. Don't be afraid to go after what you want. In that moment, you may feel like, and I call it being a goober. You may feel like being a goober, that you're doing too much. You're giving too much at this time, but you got to be extremely, extremely focused about what you want. You can't let anything get in between that. And so this year, I chose the end of last year. I had already started moving into it to truly solely focus on what it is that I've been called to do. And so it's been a pleasure to speak with you on this week. I hope that everyone has an amazing end of the week. Remember, delay is not denial, and continue to look for the signs. I leave you with this: always refuse to live less than your best, because that's what you've been called. And guess what? You're amazing.